Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining me. It is Monday, June the 30th, I do believe, last day of the month, and I'm coming to you around noontime. Good to be with you. I hope you had a great weekend. Mine was all right. I didn't do much. I've been walking around a little bit in my boot, and yesterday, if I may share this with you, yesterday I took a shower. That's right. I'm telling you, it was glorious. Yesterday is the three-week anniversary of breaking my leg, and I just since then I've been taking like sponge baths and things of that nature. I just said I have got to have a shower, so I took the boot off and I got up into the shower. We don't have a zero entry shower. There's a little bit of a step, but I got some handles and whatnot, and I got into the shower. It's kind of tough taking a shower one-handed, but it's better than nothing. And but I consider it a success, and I felt like a new man after it was done. It was wonderful. So that was my big accomplishment over the weekend. Okay, I want to get to a couple of things in the news. And I want to start with this big, beautiful bill and some of the fallout from this thing. It was passed by the Senate last night by a vote of 51 to 49. Every Democrat, of course, voted against it. 2 Republicans voted against it. It was supposed to be 3. It was Rand Paul of Kentucky, Tom Tillis of North Carolina, and Ron Johnson of Wisconsin, but at the midnight hour, almost literally, Ron Johnson flipped, and he supported the bill. J.D. Vance was standing by in the event of a tie, but that wasn't necessary. It passed 51 to 49. Now, I think it's back to the House where they're doing some reconciliation, trying to get this thing passed. This is a bill. I'm sure there are good things in this bill, but there's bad things in this bill as well. And the worst thing of all, there's actually like a list that Thomas Massey posted on his Twitter page. I should have written it down. There's a lot of bad things in this bill, folks. This is why, again, we need single issue voting on bills. Bring up one issue, just one. Let's vote on that. Then we'll move on to the next issue. But these things get so overloaded with amendments and pork and all kinds of things that it's like Frankenstein's monster. It's like nobody knows what's in the thing. Now let me tell you something. For the first time in history, in recorded human history, I found myself in agreement with New York Democrat Senior Senator Chuck U. Schumer. That's right. Do you know why I'm in agreement with Chuck Schumer? Because in a tactic to delay a vote on the big, beautiful bill, Schumer forced a reading of said bill on the floor of the Senate. I can't believe this. You've never seen a Democrat that I know of force a reading of a bill. But that's exactly what happened. This was on the Hill. Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer of New York told Democratic senators Saturday that he will force the clerks to read the 1,000-page Republican megabill on the Senate floor once Republicans vote to proceed to the legislation, a procedural act of defiance that will take an estimated 12 hours and delay final passage of Trump's agenda by half a day at least. Schumer told his caucus to prepare to force a full reading of the bill, according to a Democratic source familiar with the internal discussion over floor strategy. Hey, Chuck, good for you, buddy. I like what you've done here. For the first time, you've done something right. I can't believe it. These things should be read, folks, and think of this. This bill is 1,000 pages long. Are you kidding me? Do any of you honestly believe that anybody in the Senate actually was going to read through this thing or sat in the chamber while it was being read? This is, of course, why people like Rand Paul and Thomas Massie vote against bills, because they never give them a chance to read the blooming things. 1,000 pages long. What is that? It's just a monster of a bill. What on earth is in there? What are you going for, the tax code of the IRS? You trying to rewrite the Bible here? War and Peace? 1,000 pages? Again, this is why we need single issue or single item voting on one bill at a time. Don't clutter a bill up with all these amendments and other things. It's ridiculous. Nobody in their right mind should vote for this thing, this monstrosity, if only for that reason alone. Schumer is actually right about this. Now, his motivations are to foil the Republicans, and of course that'd be my motivation too on this particular matter. But Schumer forced a reading of the bill, and all it did, of course, was delay the vote. I mean, Republicans have done this too. It's just a delay. It's just a protest, and I completely understand it. But at the end of the day, literally, this bill was passed in the Senate, as I said, 51-49, and now it's back to the House of Representatives. Now, Trump is angry at if you can keep up with it. He's angry right now. The latest people he's angry with. He's angry with Rand Paul, of course, and he's angry with Tom Tillis. Now, I'm no big fan of Tom Tillis, and I don't know what his motivations were, but to his credit, Tom Tillis voted against this bill. He was one of 2 GOP votes that voted against this bill. Tillis is a senator from North Carolina. He's a bit of a wild card, but Tillis voted against the bill, and this drew the wrath of President Trump. And I've got to read to you what Trump posted on Truth Social, and he directed his comments at Tillis and at Rand Paul, and this is just going to make your head spin around. I quote, "Tillis is a talker and complainer, not a doer. He's even worse than Rand, Fauci, Paul," unquote. What? Rand, Fauci, Paul? What does that even mean? You're referring to Senator Paul as Rand, Fauci, Paul? What does that mean? Now, as we know, Rand Paul, more than anybody else in Congress, folks, has been holding Fauci's feet to the fire, and with good reason. If you go back in recent history, there is nobody who has done more damage to this country, with the possible exception of Joe Biden, than Anthony Fauci. And he started in the Trump administration. He started doing this. He was a Reagan appointee, if you remember. But all this stuff happened with the scamdemic back in, 2020. And every day you saw Fauci and Scarf Lady out there just imploring the American people to get the jabs. And it was all such a scam. And Rand Paul knows it, and Rand Paul has been directing his efforts toward bringing Fauci, who is an evil human being, if you ask me. He is sheer evil based on what he has done and said, in particular with the gain of function research that he denied with regard to research and development in Wuhan. And Rand Paul has called him on it. And it has looked like that, Rand is pressing for Fauci to be held to account for what he has done to the American people, and he has done great damage to the American people, folks. There's a lot of good people who have died in this country from that scam because they took the advice of people like Anthony Fauci. And it may appear to the president that Rand Paul is, perhaps he thinks he's preoccupied with Anthony Fauci. I simply say, Mr. President, Senator Paul is doing his job, sir. Where are you? You know, I can appreciate the manner in which President Trump conducts himself. In some ways, it's refreshing because he doesn't talk like the typical politicians that we've been used to in the past. Most politicians in the past, particularly at the federal level, conducted themselves with a little more restraint, a little more decorum. There was none of them were so much bombastic necessarily. You know, occasionally you'd get one, particularly on the Democratic side, I would say. But Trump is a man who has very little filter. He just speaks his mind. He's bombastic. He's frank. He's out in the open. What you see is what you get. And there's part of me that appreciates that. But so often he goes so far over the top and he attacks good people, as we have seen, for no good reason. And he acts like a bully, as we have seen, for no good reason. And he acts childish at times for no good reason. I appreciate the openness and the frankness. And I mean, nobody's ever going to accuse Trump of not having an open White House with the media. Nobody's ever going to accuse him of that. He will stand there and talk to the press all day long. He'll run them down. You want to ask me anything? A complete 180 from his predecessor. And I appreciate that about him. Nobody's ever going to say we never get access to Donald Trump. Hell, he brings him in the Oval Office, for heaven's sakes. He over-accommodates the press. To his credit, I like that about him. But to go after Rand Paul like this is just silly. It's nonsensical, folks. To refer to Rand as Rand Fauci Paul, that doesn't even make sense. And he's been slamming Rand Paul because he opposed the big beautiful bill. Folks, Rand Paul is a fiscal conservative, and he understands that the bad side of the big beautiful bill is it increases our debt hugely. We're at $37 trillion now. He's saying within 20 years it's going to be, I don't think it's going to take 20 years, it's going to be close to $60 trillion. Folks, at some point, somebody's got to wake up and do the right thing. Something's got to be done about this. And what does Trump say about this? This is what Trump says. This is a social media post from Donald Trump. Quote, "For all cost-cutting Republicans, of which I am one, remember, you all have to get reelected. Don't go too crazy. We will make it all up times 10 with growth more than ever before," unquote. Now, if I had a nickel for every time some federal politician uttered a statement anything like this, I'd be on Easy Street. Trump is basically saying, don't worry about the debt. Don't worry about the deficits. Don't worry about all that. Come on, Rand. Come on, Tillis. Come on, people. We're going to make up for it with all the growth. Well, that's quite a gamble, Mr. President. Now, I hope and pray you're right. And I do believe we will see growth during your administration, and that's a good thing. We will see an increase in funds to the Treasury. But that's not dealing in a responsible way with the debt. You're not cutting spending. That's what's got to be done. You can't just rely on growth to eliminate your debt, Mr. President. I don't care what kind of growth you have. When you are $37 trillion in debt, it's going to take more than just growth, if you ask me. So that's what he tweeted yesterday, I believe it was, or last night. Okay, I want to move on to the possible mayor. I just deleted my article. Bear with me. Okay, let me get on to the man whose name is Zoran Kwame Mamdani. This is the man who, in all likelihood, is going to be the next mayor of New York City. I hope not. Can you believe how New York City has changed from 2001 to 2025? From Rudy Giuliani to a man who bills himself as a democratic socialist. He's basically a communist, and he's a Muslim. What a contrast from 2001. All the signs that say, "We will never forget." Well, looks like it took you about 25 years to forget. Now, this is mind-blowing what this man said in an interview over the weekend. I believe this was with MSNBC. And he says he is absolutely, Mamdani says, he is absolutely committed to keeping New York as a sanctuary, city, and he is going to target white neighborhoods with tax increases. Have you heard this? Yeah, if you're white, we're going to tax you even more. He's also planning to, more on that in a minute, because I'm a white guy, I got a concern about that. He also plans to establish an office of LGBTQIA LMNOT affairs. And he has called for the defunding of the New York City Police Department. He has accused the police department of being, quote, too anti-queer, unquote. And he supports Green New Deal initiatives like the banning the installment of gas stoves, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. Now, folks, this is unbelievable to me. I mean, all of this is unbelievable to me. All of this is outrageous to me. But the part where he says we're going to tax white people more, is there not a word for this? Those of you who watch me regularly know of my disdain for the word, I even hate saying the word, for the word racism. The reason I hate the word is because it is so overused, misapplied, misappropriated, misunderstood. So many people who use the word do not have a clue what the word even means. But there are people who would say that if the mayor of a city says, yeah, we're going to tax those white people over there more than anybody else, there are people who might say that's a little racist, and I ain't sure they're wrong. Now, he said, I gave you the quotes. There was an article in the New York Post, and a critic of Mamdani's called his proposal racist. And he argued that it focuses on identity politics, and that is absolutely true. That is Democrats, identity politics, judging people by groups, not as individuals. And it seeks to punish white people, which it does. And another conservative commentator branded him as a racist. Folks, this is absurd. Can you imagine if any other politician in America said, yeah, we're going to tax Asian people more than any other class of people, or we're going to tax black people more than any other tax of people, or Koreans, or we're going to tax Jews or Christians, or we're going to tax Episcopalians more than... Where does it end? It's absurd. This these identity politics. This guy is off of his rocker. He is off the hinges, and he is in all likelihood going to be the next mayor of New York City. Can you believe this? Somehow people are going to have to coalesce behind Eric Adams or somebody to keep this from happening. And I'm just going to be frank about this right now. As far as I'm concerned, there should be intervention here. This man is nothing but a communist, and there is no way in hell. We should go back to Senator McCarthy, who was right in his hunt for communists in the United States. He was right. This should not be tolerated, folks. In the largest city in the United States of America, there is no way this should be tolerated. There should be intervention, as far as I'm concerned, federal intervention, and somebody should say, you're not doing this. You're not going to be mayor of the New York City. It's not going to happen. And he says there's going to be an end to ICE arrest in New York City. I'd be interested in seeing what Tom Homan has to say about that. Because I don't think Tom Homan would agree to that. All right, I want to leave you with a quote today. Off topic, anything I've talked about today really, but I just came across it and I love it. I want to read to you this short quote and let you just mull it over until we meet again. Listen to this if you would please. A passionate attachment of one nation for another produces a variety of evils. Sympathy for the favorite nation, facilitating the illusion of an imaginary common interest in cases where no real common interest exists, and infusing into one the enmities of the other, betrays the former into a participation in the quarrels and wars of the latter, without adequate inducement of justification, unquote. Do you know who said that? That would be, anybody? That would be, if you're an American, that would be your first president in his farewell address, George Washington. I hope you will rewind this, go back and listen to that again or look up that quote online. That's frameable, if you ask me, and think that over, mull that over. Okay, folks, look, if you'd be so kind to like this video, I would appreciate it. Subscribe to the channel if you have not. Give me your comments down below. As always, I love to hear what you have to say. Go out there and have a great Monday, everybody. It's really good to be with you, and I will see you soon.